वटविटपि समीपे भूमिभागे निषण्णम् सकलमुनिजनानां ज्ञानदातारमारात् त्रिभुवनगुरुमीशं दक्षिणामूर्तिदेवम् सकलदुःखच्छेददक्षं नमामि। चित्रं वटतरोर्मूले वृद्धाः शिष्याः गुरुर्युवा गुरोस्तु मौनं व्याख्यानं शिष्यास्तु न संशयाः निधये सर्वविद्यानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां गुरवे सर्वलोकानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। एतत्पर्यन्तं नमस्कारः।
नमस्कारः। सर्वेभ्यः स्वागतम्। वयं दीपावल्याः पर्वसमारम्भे उत्सवे च अत्र शिवानन्दलहर्याः चर्चाम् अनुवर्तयामहे। शिवस्य अनुग्रहपात्रतां च अर्हामः। 57तमात् श्लोकात् अनुवर्तयामः। इतः पर्यन्तं किं पठितम् अस्माभिः? शिवस्य वर्णनं, तस्य ताण्डवस्य वर्णनं, तस्य नीलकण्ठत्वविषये वर्णनं, नीलकन्धर नीलकण्ठ इत्यादि पद अभिख्यानेषु यो श्लेषः, यस्य श्लेषः वर्तते, श्लेषः इस् अ पन्. So Neelakantha can mean a peacock as well as Shiva, just as the peacock dances when there is rain around, and the onset of monsoon. Similarly, Neelakandhara, that is Shiva, is dancing as Girija, that is as Gauri, who is Shyama, who is gray in color, is approaching him. And we also saw that Shaila Samudbhava, because Cloudvat, Ghanavat Shyama, Shaila Samudbhavam. It is told that the clouds emerge from the mountains. They are born in the mountains, just as Gauri herself is Parvati, Girija. Tatha Shaila Samudbhava sa Ghana Ruchihi, Ghanasya Saundaryavati asti, sa Shivam निकटं निकटं आगच्छन्ती अस्ति, तदा एषः शिवः नीलकण्ठः विहाररसिकत्वेन वेदान्तस्य उपवने विहरते। तादृशं शिवं वयं भजामः इति अपश्यामः। एवं तस्य ईश्वरादिगुणान् अपि पठितवन्तः। अस्तु, वयमद्य 57तमात् श्लोकात् चर्चामनुवर्तयामः। नित्यं स्वोदरपूरणाय सकलानुद्दिश्य वित्ताशया व्यर्थं पर्यटनं करोमि भवतः सेवां न जाने विभो। मज्जन्मान्तरपुण्यपाकबलतस्त्वं सर्वसर्वान्तरः तिष्ठस्येव हि तेन वा पशुपते ते रक्षणीयोऽस्म्यहम्। हे पशुपते, हे शिव, ते अहं रक्षणीयः अस्मि. I am your responsibility to be protected. So the protection of me, my protection, is your responsibility. Te rakshaniyaha aham asmi. And what is the reason he gives? Nityam swa udara puranaya vittashaya sakalan uddishya vyartham paryatanam karomi bhoho. I am nityam pratidinam swa udara puranaya, मम उदर इज स्टमक, पेट भरने के लिए, स्व उदर पूरणाय सकलान उद्दिश्य I go roaming, पर्यटनम, I go roaming and begging at many people's homes. सकलान उद्दिश्य किमर्थम? वित्ताशया, धनस्य अपेक्षया, धनस्य वाञ्छया, कामेन अहम व्यर्थम पर्यटनम करोमि. It's not even that all of these effort is paying off. These efforts are not even paying off. And still, I continue to do all of these, begging at people's in many different ways. You know, we approach employers, we approach people, politicians, we approach friends, relatives, for so many different purposes. So all of that is vitta. Here, it need not literally mean just only money. Vitta is value. To beget some value out of people, which is here basically swa udara puranaya, to fulfill ourselves in some way. Sakalan uddishya vyartham paryatanam karomi. किंतु भवतः सेवां न जाने विभो. हे विभो, O Almighty, भवतः सेवां न जाने. I do not, however, have the buddhi to even do your seva. मत जन्म अंतर पुण्य पाक बलतः त्वं सर्वांतरः तिष्ठसि एव हि. तेन वा पशुपते ते रक्षणी योऽस्म्यहम्. मत मम जन्म अंतर पुण्य पाक बलतः. मम जन्म अंतर, because of some janma in my previous, some punya which has fructified, which is paka. Paka is fruition. Punya paka balataha, because of the force of some punya which has come to fruition in this life, but the punya which was done in some other life, janmantara. So in some erstwhile janma, the punya which I may have performed has now come to fruition, and because of such effort and force of punya, what has happened? Tvam sarvantaraha tishtasi eva hi. You you have come before me. Sarvantaraha tvam sarvavyapi tvam, he Sharva, he Shiva, tvam tishtasi eva hi. You have come and stood before me. Tishtasi eva hi. And you are still standing. Tishtasi eva. You're just still standing. You're not doing anything else. Tena va pashupate te rakshani yosmiham. So I must have definitely done some punya to have your sakshatkara, though you're not doing much. So at least consider that I have done some punya of my previous lives to have earned your darshana, and that itself must be sufficient punya enough for you to take on the responsibility of my rakshana as well. So he is saying, in this janma at least I have not done anything which I can remember, which may have caused the darshana of Bhagavan, of Sarvantaraha. So perhaps in the previous erstwhile janmas I may have, for which reason you are standing before me now. But please just don't keep standing before me. Mama rakshaniyaha, mama rakshana kartavyam api bhavataha eva asti. That responsibility also you must only shoulder. So this is what Adi Shankaracharya. Just see the politeness as well as confidence with which he speaks to Shiva himself directly. Tishthasyeva hi. You're just standing, simply standing there. Tushnim tishtasi tena va pashupate tena punyena va. With that reason, te rakshani yosmiham. Maybe to rid yourself of boredom, you can just take on some extra responsibility and protect me as well. Because now I have come to the realization that sarvam vyartham, sarvam paryatanam vyartham iti. All my efforts, purushartha as they call it, all the efforts and strife in life which I have been making is for one singular thing, which is vittashaya, to obtain some value, and swa udara puranaya, to fill my own voids. It could be merely just physiological hunger or some psychological stability, or filling the void of the pockets with money, or the void of the bank with bank balance, and so on and so forth. So all such voids have been filled. Udara literally means a void, and it then came to be used as a name to denote the stomach, because stomach is also just a void. It's a gastric void. So swa udara puranaya vittashaya. So because of these two reasons, I have been vyartham paryatanam. Have been wandering around so many different people, things, and organizations. I'm totally tired now. And I regret that bhavatah sevam na jane, that I did not do your seva. And I don't even know how to do your seva. Sevam na janami. अस्मिन् जन्मनि अपि किमपि पुण्यं न कुर्यां, न कृतवान् स्यात्, तस्मात् मम रक्षण कर्तव्यं, भवान् एव वहतु. This is the sthula artha, the literal meaning of this shloka. Any inputs? Much highly appreciated.
ताशया सर्वं व्यर्थमेव वदति तत् सफलो वा विफलो वा तत् सफलोऽपि व्यर्थः एव इति न
आम् सत्यं साधु. यद्यत् कर्म कृतं तत् सफलं स्यात् चेदपि व्यर्थमेव तत्. Why is it vyartha? Because that udara purana doesn't really, is not permanent. The filling of the void never ceases. It's a bottomless pit that we keep trying to fill. So no such effort will ever suffice.
saying that because of the punya सर्व सर्वान्तरस्तिष्ठत्येव इति उक्तवान् वा? Because of punya he is everywhere, or is he pointing out that because of punya I am able to see he is everywhere?
Mat janma antara punya paka balataha, because of the punyas coming to fruition of some other lifetime at this time, at this juncture, Tvam sarvantarah tishtasi. You, the all encompassing, omnipresent Sharva, have come because of my punya as in a form. And you have Sharva means a person. So there the Sambodhana is of Sharva, which literally means one who is pleasant, Sharva. It is very similar to Sharma. So Sharva can also mean one who is very pleasant. And one who is a Pinakadhari is also usually referred to as Sharva. So here the Sarvantaryami San Shivaha Adhuna Mama Punya Paka Balataha Saguna Rupena Sarupena Mama Purataha Tishtasi. You are standing before me with a form. That is what I could interpret this as. You could tell me if I'm wrong, or if you have a different way of interpreting it.
It says Vibhu.
Hmm.
So अत्र जन्म इत्युक्ते मम प्रश्नः सरला किमित्युक्ते सर्वस्तु सदा सर्वत्र तिष्ठत्येव विभुः तर्हि अत्र जन्मान्तर पुण्य फलं किमस्ति एतत् सत्यवाक्यं सः विभुः तर्हि अत्र पुण्यस्य किम् अहमेवं चिन्तयामि पुण्यस्य किम् इत्युक्ते पुण्येन अहं द्रष्टुं शक्नोमि
Though he is Sarvantara, in the sense that Sarvantara Tishtati, Sarvatra Tishtati Satyam, why I am thinking it is that he has come before him to give darshana is Tishtasi eva hi. So some people actually break this word to me iha. So evahi means iha. You have come here and you're standing here. So that he could be interpreted as iha. Iha is here. So tishtasi evahi. You have stood before me here. How can he who is all pervading just only stand here only because he is in the saguna form is what I thought. But yeah, here the Janmantara Punya Paka can then therefore be taken as a reason for Mama Rakshaniyata, that maybe out of some punya of my previous lives, you should start taking upon the responsibility of Mama Rakshana. But that seems a little too far-fetched, I felt. Uh, then there would. Uh,
सर्वान्तरस्तस्यैव हि
hmm.
मज्जन्म पुण्य पाक बलस्
Balatah.
बलतः त्वं रक्षणीयः वा किं रक्षणीयः अहम् there is I see your point. परन्तु इह इत्युक्ते इहलोके इत्यपि वक्तुं इह इत्युक्ते अत्रैव इति वक्तुं किमर्थम्?
Eva hi. Eva. Okay, yeah, I mean, that is true. Tishtasi eva hi. No, so if you look at the previous line, he's saying Bhavatah sevam na jane. I do not know to do seva to you. And in all of these preceding shlokas, he is doing a one-on-one conversation with Shiva. So it is not too much of an imagination to think that he has actually come as Sakshatkara before him. And he is having a conversation, chit chat with the Shiva. And what he is lamenting is Sevam na jane, because I did not do seva to you. Because in this Janma, I have only done Swa Udara Purana for Vittashaya with all these other people and other stuff. But now that you are here before me, though you are omnipresent, what I ask of you is Mama Rakshaniya, Aham Rakshaniya Asmi iti. Or this word Janmantara Punya Paka Balataha could be taken to mean the realization of everything being Vyartha is because of that Jnana is the result of maybe the Punya which has happened, that I've come to this realization. Do you think that would work? Is that somehow sound? Hmm.
इतोपि चिन्तनीयं स्यात्
Sadhu. नित्यं सोदरपूरणाय सकलान् उद्दिश्य वित्ताशया व्यर्थं पर्यटनं करोमि भवतः सेवां न जाने विभो मज्जन्मान्तरपुण्यपाकबलतस्त्वं सर्वान्तरः तिष्ठस्येव हि तेन वा पशुपते ते रक्षणीयोऽस्म्यहम्. Let's look at the summary. For this sole purpose of filling my stomach, I roam around lost from here to there searching for money. Alas, my Lord, I know not of your loving service, but luckily, perhaps with the virtues of previous lifetimes fructifying now, I see you standing before me, you, O Shiva, O Lord of instincts, Pashupati, O bestower of all that is auspicious. Now it is upon you to protect me. Te rakshaniyaha asmyaham.
साधु अस्ति तत्
अस्तु अग्रे सरामः शान्तार्ये कश्चन प्रश्नो वर्तते किम्
this is a comprehension, but I'm just following, and I find the other gentleman's conversation a little bit difficult to follow.
Okay.
That's why I'm a little bit lost, but I'm trying to sort of make a gist of it.
Okay. So what he was just asking to quickly summarize is this word Majjanmantara Punya Paka Balatah, which means upon the fruition of some punya which I have done in some erstwhile janma, the force of which has led me somewhere. That is the phrase. So the question he was posing was, is that to be taken along with Sarvantaraha Tishtasi? Is it to be meant that because of my punya I have now your darshana? Or is it because of your punya that I am that you should take on the responsibility of protecting me? Or is it because of my punya that I have come to the realization that all of what I've done so far is just bullshit? You know, it's kind of waste. Uh,
All the book, able to see that you are everywhere.
oh, I'm able to see that you're everywhere. Yeah. Yes, yes, Shantari, please go on.
Saying that because I was so busy trying to sort of looking for food, my concentration initially was to fulfill my stomach, which is never ever fulfilled because it's only temporary. Despite neglecting you, I'm still able to sort of see you. Maybe this is because of my previous punya and
Yeah.
That's how I conclude. Despite neglecting because I have done good deeds, you're still protecting me.
Very well glued in all the different perspectives, correct? Sadhu, Uttama. एको वारिजबान्धवः क्षितिनभो व्याप्तं तमो मण्डलम् भित्त्वा लोचनगोचरोऽपि भवति त्वं कोटिसूर्यप्रभः वेद्यः किन्न भवस्यहो घनतरं कीदृङ् भवेन्मत्तमः तत्सर्वं व्यपनीय मे पशुपते साक्षात् प्रसन्नो भव. हे पशुपते, O Lord of instincts, Pashupate, Tvam Sakshat Bhava, come before me, give your Sakshatkara. Prasannaha Bhava, be pleased, be merry, and make merry with me. Who are you? Kastvam, Tvam Ekaha, you are one. Varija Bandhavaha, Varija is, Vari is Jalam. Jale Jayate iti Varijam. Varija Bandhavaha. So flower which blooms in water, usually typically in Sanskrit it refers to the lotus. Varija Bandhavaha is one who is the friend of lotus, which is the sun. Because again, the sun is said to be the impetus for lotuses to bloom in the morning. Varija Bandhavaha Kshitinabho Vyaptam. Kshiti Prithivim Nabha Akasham cha Vyaptavan Asti. Bhavan, you have occupied the earth and the skies. Tamo Mandalam Bhitva, you as the rising sun are dispelling the darkness from the sphere of darkness. The dominion of darkness is being usurped by you. Lochana Gocharaha, and you can be seen with my eyes as the sun is. Api Tvam Koti Surya Prabha Bhavati. But though you are visible to the eye, like the sun, you are as effulgent and powerful as as crores of suns, crores of stars beaming together in unison. Vedyaha kim na bhavasi. How can you then not be comprehensible? Vedyaha kim na bhavasi. Will you not be comprehensible? Aho, wow. Ghanataram kidrig bhavet mat tamaha. Though you are Koti Surya Prabha, still you are not comprehensible to me. Then, aho, then he is sarcastically wondering how dense his own tamas must be. Ghanataram kidrik bhavet mat tamaha. How thick must my dense and thick must my own darkness, ignorance be, that even though you are splendorous as thousands, as crores of suns, yet I am not able to see you. Tat sarvam vyapaniya, and so therefore I am helpless. You Pashupati yourself must tat sarvam tamaha mandalam vyapaniya. You must then clear out all this darkness from within my heart. Vyapaniya. Then you become sakshat. You come before my eyes. Aksha is eyes. Sakshat prasanna bhava. Be pleased with me so as to give me your darshana by removing such a dense, thick veil of darkness within me, which was able to even hide your tattva, which is as effulgent as a million suns itself. एको वारिजबान्धवः क्षितिनभो व्याप्तं तमोमण्डलं भित्त्वा लोचनगोचरोऽपि भवति त्वं कोटिसूर्यप्रभः वेद्यः किं न भवस्यहो घनतरं कीदृग्भवेन्मत्तमः तत्सर्वं व्यपनीय मे पशुपते साक्षात् प्रसन्नो भव. So even this one sun, the physical sun that we see, when it rises, it will cause the lotuses. Again, this is a hint at the chakras of our body, which are blooming. And Kshiti Nabha. Kshiti is Prithvi, which is Muladhara, and Nabhas is Akasha, which is Vishuddhi. So all the 5 elemental chakras will bloom upon the rise of this sun, which is basically the Ajna. So when even the physical sun itself rises, it will dispel the entire sphere of darkness from the earth, and it will be visible to our eyes. Lochana gocharaha, to the third eye. Then what of you who have the splendor of a million suns, yet if you are unable to be seen, it definitely means there is something which is really powerful about my own ignorance, which therefore only you, Pashupati, are capable enough to dispel. यदि कश्चन अभिप्रयतुम् इच्छति.
I'm just thinking stuff like if you have a very, very deeply depressed person and everybody tries to sort of get him out of the depression, and though the person who's trying to heal them is like Surya with that kind of radiance, no matter how much you make an effort, until something sort of comes, your ignorance or your deep depression or your atma, until you realize that you are depressed and you want to come out of the pit, you can't. How would you explain? Maybe there's so much of sun, everything, but still, if you don't know how to come out of your own pit and you stay still in your own darkness, nothing is going to bloom. How can that be explained, despite all the Koti Surya Prabha and if the God appears in front of you, you don't realize the God is there.
Perfect. Very beautifully explained.
With your permission.
Please, there's no need for permission, please.
So, maybe the analogy does not quite work because there is somebody external that is trying to influence a depressed person to come out of depression. But here, the Bhagavan is actually within. He is there, and he can dispel the darkness from within. And I think this is the common kind of phrase that different shlokas use in reference to removing darkness. And uh, they do not say that somebody will come from outside and remove the darkness. Rather, our own manas will change and darkness will be gone. Is the kind of understanding I have.
That's what I was trying to say. In a way, no matter what is around you, the Atma within you, if it doesn't light up and sort of get you out of it, nothing is going to sort of get you out of it. So, towards the end of the day, your Atma is the most important thing. I
Absolutely.
don't know if I'm right or wrong.
No, you're very right. In line with what even Krishna says, Uddhared Atmanatmanam, Natmanam Avasadayet. Only oneself can uplift oneself, and only oneself can put himself or herself down. So, but so you're exactly right in that.
You can interpret because 360-degree assessment. Each one's interpretation is a little bit different because you see from what angle you want to see. But if I change my angle a little bit, maybe I see this shloka a little bit more different. Depending on my understanding of the total meaning and how I can sort of depict it.
Yes. Absolutely. There is no one meaning as such. Please do. Okay. Yeah. Please do put forth your opinions, Ari.
Anyone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. So the idea is that she is comparing this with how even for a depressed man or a woman, whatever be the case, it's only oneself who would, I mean, if one chooses to remain in suffering, then not even a Koti Surya Prabha can illumine that person, because then that tamas, that ignorance, that darkness within needs to be dispelled uh, only by oneself. One must choose to dispel the darkness from within. Yeah, that's right.
Then, like I would like to put it slightly differently, in the sense that when we are depressed, it is not that we choose to be in depression. We don't even realize that we are making unconscious choices that keep us in depression. And the therapy actually, like the first step towards getting out of depression is actually understanding what exactly you're doing and what are the consequences of it. So that understanding itself can be understood as dispelling of the darkness through jnana. And that's how I would look at it.
Wonderful. That is true. And in fact, there are so many people who, of these many extremes of the psyche spectrum who refuse to go to even therapy, right? So, which means they don't, though they are suffering their own personalities, they don't feel the need to correct or see a problem with it. And so they will choose to remain in that tamas. Of course, they're not choosing as in willfully, consciously choosing, but unless they see something wrong with them, therapy would not even work. And I think you may know it better that therapy works only if the patient would be willing to change. Would it work if the patient is not willing to change? It's like I go to a stand-up comedy show and I have gone with a determined mind that I will never laugh, no matter what. So, however hard the comedian tries to make me laugh, if I have made my mind up that I will not laugh, I will not laugh. So maybe something to that effect. Of course, I understand what you're saying. Uh, do you agree that there is some amount of choice that we are making to heal ourselves, at least to that extent? Is there a choice?
To some extent, the choice here our Shankaracharya is making is he is trying to laugh at his own tamas and say, you have to display. By just asking this,
Correct.
that itself will lead to the dispelling of the darkness, I believe.
Yes.
I want to go a little bit more modern. I don't want to sort of stay in the whatever century it was written, but I want to sort of compare this to the modern world. On the today's news, day-to-day news is some celebrity or somebody or the other has been diagnosed with cancer, let alone depression. And they have telltale signs of something. But through their ignorance, they have tried to ignore those telltale signs. And the cancer has been diagnosed. And they actually sort of realize, I should have sort of seen it before. That is also tamas. That's also ignorance. That may not be depression, but trying to ignore your own atma and your own body, your own self. Maybe I'm not trying to sort of compare it properly and keeping ourselves into the true meaning of the shlokas. But I always want to compare today's world and the previous day's world and the previous day's world.
Very, very true. Very valuable, actually, that.
I know this. I wish I had not neglected my signs and symptoms. I wish I had listened to my other partner, other half, or something like that. How do you explain? Like, it is also similar.
Yes.
Described in a different way by me, or I suppose. I don't know.
That is exactly tamas. Yeah, you've got it right. There's no doubt about it. Unable to see one's own flaws is also part of ajnana. Unable to see one's own. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that needs to be dispelled. That is exactly the point of the shloka.
Yeah, I always want to go back to the future with these shlokas.
Yes, very useful because that keeps us grounded and, in fact, keeps us away from getting too off into the poetic, lost in the poetic nuances of a shloka. Correct. It helps us connect back and see how relevant all of this is.
So, the thing used to happen in those days, everything which has been recorded, literature-wise, that used to happen in those days, and that is a contemporary explanation. But it still happens today. The ignorance was there, ignorance is still here, and ignorance is going to be still in the Bhavishyat Kala also. So,
Correct.
Sorry, I'm trying to sort of maybe go off point.
No, that's really valid.
That's my.
In fact, these shlokas, they derive their value and relevance from the very fact that ajnana will continue to percolate itself into the future. If it were to be extinguishable, there would be no use of these shlokas anymore. It's like the doctor makes a living by keeping disease in the world that way.
So that's the Vaidyo Narayano Harihi. Narayana is also a natural Vaidya. Surya is also a natural Vaidya. And Nana is also a natural Vaidya.
Correct. Yes.
Nature itself.
Dhanyawad. Let's look at the summary quickly. When just one sun is enough to dispel the darkness enveloping both the skies and the lands, for the sake of meeting his friend, which is the lotus, Varija Bandhavaha, you, the thousand sun radiance guy, but I'm still unable to see you. Oh, pity me for wonder at how thick then must my ignorance be. O Lord of instincts, be kind and penetrate through all of it and show me yourself. हंसः पद्मवनं समिच्छति यथा नीलाम्बुदं चातकः कोकः कोकनदप्रियं प्रतिदिनं चन्द्रं चकोरस्तथा चेतो वाञ्छति मामकं पशुपते चिन्मार्गमृग्यं विभो गौरीनाथ भवत्पदाब्जयुगलं कैवल्यसौख्यप्रदम् अत्र एषु त्रिषु श्लोकेषु भक्तिः कथं भवेत्, how must one long and love Bhagavan is being described. Hamsah yatha padmavanam samichhati. Just as a swan loves to, is attracted to the Padmavana, a pond of lotuses, because Hamsas are known to dwell only on the nectar obtained from the lotuses. So, Hamsah Padmavanam samichhati yatha, yatha ni, Chatakaha Neelambudam vanchati, just as a Chataka, we have seen this last class. Chataka is the bird, the imagined bird, which is waiting thirstily for the next monsoon to arrive, because it has taken a shapatha that it will drink only from the droplets of rain directly and never ever go to any water body as such to quench its to quell its thirst. So that is the Chataka bird. It has too much pride, you see. It has it's not going to break its vow no matter what. Even if it were to die, the Chataka bird will wait and wait and wait desperately for the next spell of rain to come. And so it is waiting for the next rain-bearing clouds. Neela Ambuda. Ambuda is Ghana, Megha. Just as the bird, Chataka, is waiting for it, for the clouds. Kokaha Kokanada Priyam. Just as Koka. Let's look at what Koka is. Let me just open the tab. It would be better if I can show you the Koka bird. Koka in Sanskrita. It's the cuckoo. Let's look at it. Identified with Phoenix sylvestris wild date palm. This may not be the case. It's a ruddy goose which waits for the Kokanada is the red lotus. Let's look at the ruddy goose. Okay, this is another kind of a bird which is again feeding off, just as the Hamsa feeds off on lotuses, it feeds off on a different species of lotus, perhaps a separate genus, which is the red lotus. So Kokanada is a red lotus. Okay, it all looks the same to me, but anyway, maybe some botanist would be able to differentiate between them. So that is another kind of a bird. In a sense, it's another bird which is waiting for the nectar coming up from the red lotus, exuding from the red lotus. Pratidinam Chandram Chakoraha Tatha. Yatha Chakoraha, again, another mythical bird which is called the Chakora, the parrot bird, which is waiting all throughout the day, thirsty, because it has vowed that it will only drink from the moonlight. It's not even going to drink a physical water. It's going to drink only the moonbeams from the moon. So Chakoraha, Kaumudim Pibati. Chakoraha Chandram Yatha Pratikshate, Yatha Samichhati, Tatha Mama Chetaha, Mamakam Chetaha Vanchati. My manas, my mind also desires in the deepest of crevices of my heart. Even the mind knows that it only wants and longs for its union with its master, with its source, which is the Brahman, which is Shiva. Chin Marga Mrigyam, which is lit by the path of consciousness. Chin Marga Mrigyam. And Mrigya here means which must be found, which it's a treasure which must be found, hunted by going on the marga of chit, of consciousness, of awareness. Chin Marga Mrigyam Vibho, He Gauri Natha, O spouse of Gauri, Bhavat Padabja Yugalam, Kaivalya Saukhya Pradam Vanchati. My mind desires only the holy feet of yours, because these holy feet alone are capable of giving Saukhya, of giving Sukha, of Ananda. Of what? Where does this Sukha come from? This Sukha which comes from being in total solitude. Kaivalya Saukhya Pradam. Again, this is another yogic term for moksha, Kaivalya. Kaivalya Saukhya Pradam. That Atishaya Ananda, which can be derived only from being in absolute total solitude, that the mind wants, which your feet can give, which your, as in Ishvara's feet, which are Ishvara's point of contact with the material body, which is the Sahasrara, can give. So my mind also desires you with such intensity of longing. हंसः पद्मवनं समिच्छति यथा नीलाम्बुदं चातकः कोकः कोकनदप्रियं प्रतिदिनं चन्द्रं चकोरस्तथा चेतो वाञ्छति मामकं पशुपते चिन्मार्गमृग्यं विभो गौरीनाथ भवत्पदाब्जयुगलम् Kaivalya Saukhya Pradam. Feel free to chime in.
इत्युक्ते केवलत्वम् इति ऐक्यमित्येव अर्थः. केवलत्वम् इत्युक्ते वन्नेस् इति वक्तुं शक्नुमः, अथवा अहमेव अस्मि इति भावना अस्ति, तत् कैवल्यम् इति.
Sadhu. Ahameva hi kevalam is one Vakya from the Upanishads. I alone am the singular Kevala, correct.
So solitude is a bliss.
Yes. In fact, we all through our lives actually believe the opposite. We think we try to evade our solitude by filling our day with busyness, as at least I am currently doing. So I think somewhere deep in the mind also knows that after a very strenuous day of interaction with people, of doing things, somehow the mind subconsciously wants to revert to a place of solitude. So if it is not able to find it in the ambience around, somehow it just shuts down and impels the body to go off, to drift off into sleep, because that place is one place where the mind, the Atma, can be completely alone. So yeah, subconsciously maybe we are in this software of longing for solitude is inbuilt, and somehow life, through its various plays and dramas, ultimately shows us and teaches us how we can be with ourselves at peace, perhaps. What do you guys think?
We crave social bonds without which we feel like we cannot live. And then again, we also crave or rather, we want to long for solitude. Is that the kind of thing that is being given out here?
You're going to be a party animal when you're young. As you mature, it becomes a bit of partying and a bit of solitude. As you mature a bit further, the ratio just reverses a little bit. And when you become one of those from a stage, that is the total solitude, that's what you want to You have experienced everything and you've had enough. And this is how the old grumpy people, or in my time, it was like that. And because they have seen the good, bad, and the ugly, they are very, they want to be in solitude. But whereas the younger generation, because they have not seen the whole three, good, bad, and the ugly, so they have been seeing only good. That's why you want to socialize more. You want to be a party animal. You want to go out to restaurants. You want to enjoy. And then once you see a little bit more life, settle into growth starts, then the responsibility comes. You learn a little bit more. Oh, I just want slightly that. That's how I want to put solitude and socialization, and that's my personal opinion.
Very true.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. That's very nice. But Shankaracharya was very young when he wrote this.
Yeah, he was young, but he was experienced. It depends on what you have seen. I've seen very, very young kids of 5. They have done lessons because their little experience in their own world has been so enormous. And also it depends on the intelligence as to how people can absorb what is around them. And that itself is an experience.
Absolutely.
There is actually a saying which resonates with what you're saying. It says you have to take jnana, whether it comes from a bala or even a shuka, meaning that even if the jnana, whatever is being said is dharma, is correct. If it is coming even from a child, you should not let your ego come in the way. You should accept it. And even if it is coming directly from a parrot, which does not actually understand anything, if it is just saying it, if it is saying what is correct, you should accept it and follow it. It is what I've heard.
Yeah, it is like when the cheetah is coming towards the case, and if there's a monkey sat on the top of a tree, he wants the case, And so the chinkies start running away from the cheetah. So they have taken the warning as a proper warning, and they know danger is coming. So monkey was right instead of warning them, just like your parrot. And so what you're saying is right. Sort of like wherever the jnana comes from, don't let your ego, basically.
Satyam.
This is a Subhashita. With your permission, I can read it.
Yes, of course.
Baladapi Shukadapi Satam Yavaharam Shru Yakaschit Bruyat Itam Tatkruhyam Prajnena Sarvatha Iti.
Punarvadatu.
Baladapi Shukadapi Satam Yavaharam Shru. Listen whatever the kid or even a parrot has to say. Yakaschit Bruyat Hitam. If it is saying some Hita Vakya, Tat Gruhyam Prajnena Sarvatha. That is always to be taken up. Gruhyam Iti. So, yeah.
The swan longs for the lotus swarms, the chataka longs for the dark rainy cloud. The frog longs for the blooming of the red water lily. The chakora longs for the moon each night, each day. My mind now longs for you, O Pashupati, for the deer which is found only on the path of awareness. So here the interpretation could be mrigya, could be a mriga. So just as a predator watches carefully and longs and waits and waits and waits for its prey to come. This is the other meaning. For the deer which is found only on the path of awareness. O spouse of Gauri, my mind longs for your holy feet, which can bestow the supreme pleasure of aloneness.
I have seen the actual hunting and actual stalking and the actual kill. That reminds me of this. It's beautiful.
Yes. And it's very significant because Pashupati himself is holding a deer. If you look at the imagery, he holds a deer in his hand. So Shankaracharya turned it against him by calling him himself the deer who is being hunted by the bhakta, very patiently waiting and waiting, camouflaging himself uh, amongst his ganas, waiting patiently for the right chance to strike at Pashupati and make him his. रोधस्तो यहृतश्रमेण पथिकश्छायान्तरोर्वृष्टितः भीतस्वस्थगृहं गृहस्थमतिथिर्दीनः प्रभुं धार्मिकम् दीपं सन्तमसाकुलश्च शिखिनं शीतावृतस्त्वं तथा चेतः सर्वभयापहं व्रजसुखं शम्भोः पदाम्भोरुहम्. Now, in line with the previous shloka, he is giving some more examples of how intense one's longing, one's love for Shiva must be. He's saying, Rodha toya hritaha shramena pathikaha chayam taror vrishhtitaha. Pathikaha shramena chayam yatha ichchati. A passerby, a fellow traveler on the road, who is shramena, who is because of exhaustion tired. He, just as he wishes to get some chaya, to get some shade of what? Of taru. Taru is vrikshaha. So just as a pathika by exhaustion and a long walk wants to desperately look and take refuge under the shade of a tree, shramena pathikaha chayam taroho अथवा वृष्टितः, or because if it was raining he immediately looks for some shelter. Rodhah toyahritah. Rodhah is he is beaten down. He has lost himself in the forest, himself or herself in the forest. Rodhah and toyahritah. He has been robbed of water. He doesn't have not even a bottle of Bisleri with him. So toyahritah shramena pathikah chayam taroh vrishtitah, to either protect himself from the shade, sorry, from the heat or from rain, as he searches desperately for the chaya, the shadow. Bhitah swastha griham grihastham atithihi deenah prabhum dharmikam. He gives three more examples. Just as a bhita, a person who is afraid, swastha griham, he goes looking for his own home, to be swastha, to be calm and peaceful at home. So he who is lost or one who is afraid, just as he seeks comfort zone uh, in such a manner, grihastham atithihi, just as an atithi, a fellow traveler, maybe some guest, he is looking for a grihastha, he is looking for a householder to have a meal or two at his home and do vishranti for the day. अथवा दीनः धार्मिकं प्रभुं यथा, or a beggar or a destitute man who is looking for some wealth, some favor from the politician, a rightful politician or a righteous leader, just as he will go to any effort and to any extent to put in all the efforts and stand at his door, keep ringing and wait there to get some favor out of him. Deepam santamasa kulaha, and one who is completely blind by darkness around him. San tamasa akulaha, one who is anxious by pitch darkness around him, just as he or she would seek out a tube light or a bulb or some sort of light source. Shikhinam shitavritaha, just as shitavritaha, one who is shriveling and um, uh, you know yeah, what is the exact word for vibrating, not vibrating, what's the right word? He is shaking in coldness, is it? Shivering. Sorry, I didn't get the right word. Thank you. Shivering in the cold. Shita vritaha, one who is shivering in the cold, just as he or she would seek out the shikhi. Shikhi is Agni. Shikhinam shita vritaha tatha mama chetaha, my mind is longing so intensely for Shambhoho Pada Ambhoruham, the holy feet of Shiva, because it is Sukham, because that is the place of all solace and happiness, and Sarva Bhayapaham, the ultimate truth, the vastness, Shiva Parabrahman itself, is the only place where all Bhaya can be ever removed. Sarva Bhaya Apaham Sukham Padambhoruham Shambhoho Mama Chetaha Vraja. He is speaking to his own mind and saying, Vraja, go. Oh, my mind, please go with that intensity of love and longing and desperation, as the foretold examples, to look for joy and to be totally bereft of fears, all sorts of fears, forever, for once and forever. Cheta sarva bhayapaham vraja sukham shambhoho padambhoruham. I think it was Ramakrishna Paramahamsa also said that when he was asked, will bhakti itself fruition and give moksha? He says, it will, but you should have the intensity of bhakti as would a drowning person have for gasping the immediate next breath if he is being drowned or waterboarded. So if you really have that sort of bhakti, then yes, Deva will be before you in no time at all. And perhaps it was inspired by this shloka of Shankaracharya itself.
It was completely his personal experience,
Mm.
because that is exactly how he describes himself. He, especially before he met his guru, he would cry every day that he is unable to see his mother. And then he would cry tears of joy as soon as he is able to see his mother for a few moments. And then he would cry again because she is now invisible again. And then later he finds his guru, and later he becomes much more stabler.
Right. Beautiful. So the idea here, taking inspiration from the previous shloka, is very subtly hinted, because he says, Chinmarga Mrityam, one must seek it through awareness. So when we are acutely aware of our own limitations, when we are acutely aware of our own voids, then it is very natural to feel that intensity of longing. So we think we don't really have that intensity, at least I, because we are not, at least I am not acutely aware of our own incompleteness, of our own current state of being, which is very far removed from being in sukha and from being sarva bhayapaha, and because of which we have fooled ourselves to think we are actually all right. But the bhakta, like Trivikrama Varya said, the bhakta may accurately know what his standing is. And that will automatically, that jnana itself will lead to that level of bhakti.
Bhakta like Prahalada can make Bhagavan take a bath. So, yeah.
Right. The sea-wrecked man desperately searches for the shore. Oh yeah, I think I misinterpreted this. Rodha could also mean one who is forlorn in the sea. Rodhas is the pratipadikam. Toya hirtaha, one who has been carried away by toya, by waves. The sea-wrecked man desperately searches for the shore. The exhausted traveler desperately longs for the tree shade. The nomad afraid of torrential rains, rushes to his home. A guest from faraway lands yearns for the householder's company. A pauper begs from a philanthropist king. A man itches to get a lantern at the pitch of night. An Eskimo frantically crashes in to find a fire. Learn, O mind, learn to hunger for Shambhu's holy feet, for that is truly the cessation of all fears, for joy ultimate.
Was it a double P or single P?
Yeah, it's a typo there. Pauper. I mean, a pauper could also be on some drug, so he can also be a pauper in that sense. He may have popped some pills. So, yeah. Thank you for pointing that out. And one final shloka where this is actually a very famous shloka where he's describing bhakti. He is defining bhakti, of course, not directly as the Naradiya Bhakti Sutras does, but by taking some more examples of how these different objects in the world themselves have shown such intensities and levels of bhakti towards their own beloved in their own very ways. Ankolam nija bija santatirayaskantopalam suchika sadhvinai vibhum latakshitiruham sindhusaridvallabham प्राप्नोति ह यथा तथा पशुपतेः पादारविन्दद्वयम् चेतो वृत्तिरुपेत्यतिष्ठति सदा सा भक्तिरित्युच्यते यथा अंकोलम निज बीज संततिः वांछति. Just as Ankola, again, it's we can just look up the image of the tree. It's a particular tree, Ankola. It is said to pollinate itself through wind pollination, through scattering of its seeds. So Ankola tree. So let's just look at the Ankola flower. Alangium salvifolium, small fragrant yellowish white flowers. This is a good image. So this is the Ankola tree, which follows wind pollination, where it scatters its seeds through by wind. And it is told that the seeds, after it gets scattered by the wind, nija bija santatihi, those seeds which are scattered by the wind, they somehow end up coming back. They are searching for their parent, the parent tree. So, though they are scattered by the wind, the newly germinated seeds end up at the base of Ankola, the parent tree itself. And the poetic dhwani, the suggestion here is how a lost orphan child Nijabija santatihi, the child offspring, will make all the effort in the world to come back to its root, to its source, the parent. Ankolam nijabija santatihi and ayaskanta upalam suchika. Just as suchika, a shard of iron or a needle of made of steel or iron, will get attracted to ayaskanta upalam, to the magnetite ore. To upala is an ore or a small crystal. Ayaskanta is magnetic. Just as a shard of or a blade of iron will get attracted to the magnet, Sadhve naija vibhum, just as a girlfriend. So he takes the example of a girlfriend here. I'll tell you why. Would get attracted to the lover. Naija vibhum, one she truly loves. Lata kshitihi, lata kshiti ruham, just as a creeper or a climber, you could say, searches for a tree to hold on to. Lata kshitiruham, and it will tightly embrace it. Lata kshitiruham. Kshitiruha is vriksha. Sindhu saridvallabham. Sindhu is river, nadi. Saridvallabham, the husband of all the water bodies, or the biggest of all the water bodies, which is the ocean. Just as the nadi goes into the ocean, finds the ocean, and crashes with all force and intensity back into the ocean. Tatha Pashupatehe Padara Vindadvayam, just as all of these show great much intensity in trying to go back to their source, so does my mind, the vrittis of my mind, the waves of my mind, so do they also. Upon reaching the feet, the Padara Vinda, the holy feet of Shiva, having reached the state of Shivatva, they all come to a halting still. Cheto vrittihi upetya tishtati. It completely says, stops all movement. And that itself, sada sa bhaktihi iti uchyate. And such motionless stillness of the mind, having reached its beloved, having found its companion, having found its union in its source, the joy and the serene silence itself is termed as bhakti. Sa bhaktihi ityuchyate. This is a wonderful definition of bhakti. And at another place in the Viveka Chudamani, he also says, Swaswarupānusandhānam bhaktirithyabhidhīyate. To find, anusandhanam is to find, to chase after, to ever be in search of and in the journey of oneself. Swaswarupa, of finding our own true nature, that process and the destination itself is said to be bhakti. This is in sync with what this very shloka 2 is describing. By the way, if you just look at all these objects described, the still object, also called as the beloved, here it is Shiva, is the Pullinga, whereas that which is getting attracted to it is feminine in nature. So the masculine is always still, whereas the feminine does the motion and it gets attracted. So Ankola is the parent tree, the stillness, the embodiment of stillness, whereas the Santatihi is a Strilinga. Similarly, Ayaskanta, the magnet, is Pullinga. Suchika is Strilinga. Naija Vibhum, the beloved, the spouse, is Pullinga, whereas Sadhvi is the girlfriend, which is in Strilinga. Kshitiruha is the Vriksha, which is again Pullinga, whereas the Lata is Strilinga. Saridvallabha, the ocean, is Pullinga, and the rivers which flow into him are Strilinga. Similarly, Cheto Vrittihi, the waves of my mind, Vritti is Strilinga, whereas Padara Vindadvayam, Padara Vindaha is Pullinga of Shiva. This is very nice. Of course, he is not being a misogynist here because, in fact, you would call him an equalist, if there's even such a word, because in the previous shlokas too, he maintains the same tone. Here, the one who is getting attracted to is put in the pullinga, and the person he is seeking is also either in pullinga or napumsakalinga. So here it is grihastham atithihi bhitaha griham deenaha prabhum deepam santamasakulaha shitavritah shikhinam. So here it is the relation between a pullinga and a pullinga itself. In a previous verse, let's just check here. It is now between a pullinga and napumsakalinga. Hamsaha padmavanam चातकः अम्बुदं कोकः नदप्रियं चकोरः चन्द्रं चेतः तव पादयुगलम् इति तत्रापि वर्तते.
पादयुगलौ द्वौपि नपुंसक उन्नाथ खलु चन्द्रः पादयुगलं तु नपुंसकं चन्द्रस्तु न
चन्द्रः न
अस्तु चिन्ता नास्ति.
Let's just check if this pattern holds in any of the previous. No.
अयस्कान्त पदे कान्ता अस्ति खलु तथापि तत् पुल्लिङ्गे
अयस्कान्त उपला इति पुल्लिङ्गशब्दः. अयस्कान्त उपलं सूचिका नैजविभुं साध्वी and so on. किं विवक्तुम् इच्छन्ति विवक्षन्ति? Would you like to opine?
केवलम् अयं विषयमेव चिन्तयामि. एतत् अस्माकं कृते एव लिखितं स्यात् इति भासते. It feels like, he does not actually need any of this Shankaracharya, but he is writing it only with the love for his Mukhyas. That's how it feels like. Of course, he might be writing it for himself, but somehow it feels like, he already realized all of it. But the benefit of others is writing all of it.
स्यात् निश्चयेन.
So, एवम् अत्र एकं विषयमस्ति. अनुसन्धानम् इत्यस्य किमर्थम् उक्तवान् भवान्?
तत्र anu is to follow behind, to chase behind. Behind. Sandhana is to reach. So to follow behind and reach is called anusandhana. So it's the journey and the destination. So swaswarupa anusandhanam. Swasya swarupasya anusandhanam. To find out and go behind, chase behind our own nature is what I feel. Correct me if I'm wrong, please.
I just wanted it clarified. That's all. Yeah, makes sense. Because I always understood it as, attaching something to something else. Is how I had it in my mind, and it makes more sense with your explanation by dividing the word into prefix and the suffix.
Anusandhana
is to attach. Anu is to follow. So first to the process of attaching.
Correct.
Is.
Correct. So, attaching to oneself. Swarupa anusandhana. Sandhana comes from the word sandhi, right? Sandhi is to unify, to get together. So bhakti also is similar. It's just unifying the lover with the beloved.
Bhakti is to separate, right? Bhakti means. Bhakti sarvamapi evameva.
Vibhakti is to separate. Bhakti is to unite.
Is it?
Vibhakti is satyam. Bhakti bhajati iti bhajyate iti bhakti. That which is sought is bhakti.
Bhajyate ityukte break.
तत्तु भञ्ज्यते. भङ् The bhanj iti dhatu. Bhanj is bhanga. Let's just check. So now you have raised it. It's a good question. Bhanj ityapi dhatu syat. Though there may be two different dhatus. Ashtadhya. Bhagnam iti yat shabda shruyate. स तु भञ्ज् धातोः इति मन्ये. हाँ, भञ्ज्. Sometimes it is in dhatu pata. The problem is they may write it as bhaji and then it will become bhanj. Okay, it's bhanj only. To destroy. Bhang, bhanakti, bhajyate. Bhanjanam, bhankta would be that which is broken or separated. Bhanjaniya. Whereas let's just check. Ah, bhanga, correct.
Sir, Bhakti itself.
हाँ, भज् इति धातोः स्यात्.
I think all these dhatus got their meaning because of the sound they make.
Bhang.
To break something. That is the sound something makes when it breaks.
Bhaja sevayam, to worship, to honor, to pray, to serve. So this could be this one. Bhakta, bhaktri, bhaktr, bhajya, bhagya, bhaktavya, bhajaniya, bhaktaha, bhaktaha, bhakti. Yeah, it's from this dhatu actually.
Oh, nice. So it's not from Bhit.
Bhakti. No, bhid is bhinna. Bhinna would be bhid. But good question, yeah. Very subtle difference. Bhajana and bhanjana. Bhajana, bhanjana. Astu. The seeds are in a frenzy looking to find their parent, the Ankola tree. A magnetite gem rushes, actually, it should be the other way. The needle rushes to its magnetite gem. A lover towards her beloved, a climber towards its host tree, a river towards her ocean. As do these embrace intimately, oh, I wish, my mind desperately searched and finally embraced the holy feet of Pashupati. Aha, then the waves of my mind can at last be put to rest, with Shambhu's lotus feet dipped into my pond. This is love. This is bhakti. Many of the schools of philosophy, the other schools, namely the Dvaita and Vishishta Dvaita, they somehow link bhakti to as proof of ever being in a Dvaita bhava, of ever being in a dual state of being. But essentially, bhakti is the desire for the dual state of being to merge into singularity. Basically, what they themselves call as sayujya, the merger with the beloved. So ultimately, even the dual state of being must end in singularity, is what I think, which is the very path of bhakti.
That makes sense. That's what I think we believe. By these, whatever bhakti we do, the eventual goal as put by Shankaracharya would be to go and do anusandhana.
Astu. And this is one of my favorite verses here. आनन्दाश्रुभिरातनोति पुलकं नैर्मल्यतश्छादनम् वाचा शङ्खमुखे स्थितैश्च जठरा पूर्तिं चरित्रामृतैः रुद्राक्षैर्भसितेन देववपुषो रक्षां भवद्भावना पर्यङ्के विनिवेश्य भक्तिजननी भक्तार्भकं रक्षति. Bhakti Janani Bhaktar Bhakam Rakshati. Forever the source of bhakti, the mother who created bhakti in the first place, she will always take care of the child who is the bhakta, man or woman, whatever. Bhaktar bhakam rakshati. This is a very powerful statement that he is making, that the lover shall ever be blessed. He or she will never face true turmoil or trouble in life, because Bhakti Janani, the mother of Bhakti, she who put Bhakti in this person in the first place, has vowed to take care of her child, which is the Bhakta. How? Let's see this. Ananda Ashrubhihi Pulakam Atanoti. Nairmalyatah Chadanam Vacha Shankhamukhe Sthitaischa चरित्रामृतैः जठरा पूर्तिं करोति रुद्राक्षैः भसितेन च देववपुषः रक्षां करोति भवद्भावना पर्यङ्के विनिवेश्य भक्तार्भकं रक्षति इति. So what she does is, she Ananda Ashrubhihi Pulakam Atanoti. She see, what does a mother do to the young child, the infant? She first has to wipe the child and clean it, right? So pulakam here means cleaning. It's refreshing. Pulakam Ananda Ashrubhihi Atanoti. She induces Ananda Ashru, Ananda Bashpa in the eyes of the Bhakta, who is now smitten by total utter love for Bhagavan, of Shiva. So she or he, by their own watery eyes, the eyes welling up with love and joy, that itself is cleansing their body. Ananda Shrubhihi Atanoti Pulakam Nairmalyatah Chadanam Karoti. So what will she make her infant wear? Chadanam Nairmalyatah. All the flowers which have fallen from the feet of the Murti, which are called Nairmalya, only with just that, those flowers, those leaves itself, she will cover the child. That is, the Bhakta himself or herself will need no other shelter, will need no other clothes, but just the prasada. He or she will even walk naked with just the prasada of Shiva. Nairmalyatah chadanam. Vacha, with her words, which are charitramritaihi shankhamukhe sthitaihi. And now the mother should feed the child with what? With some shankha. So in those days, they would, even today, at least I have seen people who are well off, at least for the first year, they will have a silver cup in which they will put milk and feed to the just born infant. Let's just check if what they call as a silver spoon for the baby. Not this one. This is called the shankha. Is any of you aware of this custom? Have you seen it? Oh. अत्र कर्नाटकराज्ये तु एवं पद्धतिः अस्ति. Shantari, are you aware of this? Okay. So this is the shankha. So the women would feed their children, the infants, with amrita, with
So it's called
what is it called? Odale. Odale. Yeah.
That's how it's a very, very tiny spout, and so that it doesn't come out in a big way.
Correct.
For child.
Tatha charitra amritaihi, with milk, which is basically the legends of Shiva himself, of the beloved. Charitra amritaihi sthitaihi cha shankhamukhe vacha jఠरा purtim karoti. She will feed the child, which is the bhakta here, with just the legends and stories and folklores of the beloved. Um, Rudrakshaihi bhasitena, and she'll adorn the baby with Rudraksha and with Bhasma, Bhasita. Deva Vapushaha Raksham, and from the Vapush, from the body of the beloved of Bhagavan, she will take the Raksha, that is the black ointment. What is it called? Kajal, huh? What is the English word for it? The black not ointment, but
Oh, that Kajal in English.
Kajal. Okay. So that is the Raksha that we usually keep even during Homas. After the Homa is done, we keep the Bhasma of as Prasada. So that is the Raksha which is taken from Deva Vapushaha, from the body of God itself. She takes the Raksha and places it on the baby's forehead and the cheeks. And Bhavad Bhavana Paryanke Viniveshya, and she puts the baby to sleep. Where? In the Paryanka, in the cradle. What is that? It is Bhavat Bhavana, your Bhavana, in the emotion, in the bhakti, in the Bhavana of, in the cradle, the comforting cradle of your bhakti itself. The bhakta is placed and he or she is, swinged off to sleep. Viniveshya Bhakti Janani Bhaktar Bhakam Rakshati. In this manner, the Janani of Bhakti protects her child, which is the Bhakta. So all in all, of course, there is no physical mother who is protecting the Bhakta here. The Bhakta itself is being described to do all these things to show how minimally he or she can live, but ever lost in the thought and in the bhavana of Shiva alone. आनन्दाश्रुभिरातनोति पुलकं नैर्मल्यतश्छादनं वाचा शङ्खमुखे स्थितैश्च जठरा पूर्तिं चरित्रामृतैः रुद्राक्षैर्भसितेन देववपुषो रक्षां भवद्भावना पर्यङ्के विनिवेश्य भक्तिजननी भक्तार्भकं रक्षति. What the child fears is separation from the beloved. So, by removing this fear, how? By ever keeping the bhakta in union with the beloved, with Shiva, in many different ways. His or her primal fear has been removed, and all this extra paraphernalia of trying to feed oneself, the clothing, taking a bath, wearing something as ornaments, etc., is all secondary, and which the bhakta will anyway not care much about. So this is the way a bhakta, a true avadhuta, would walk on this world. Let's just look at some pictures of such bhaktas. We will get a better imagery. So I think you could say Akka Mahadevi was one such. So she was quite, like just as Laleshwari was quite literally naked, and she would only wear Rudrakshi and Bhasma on her body and nothing else. And just as Trivikramarya just described, Paramahamsa himself also would well up in joy and also in frustration, and tears would flow down his cheeks. Paramahamsa. So those very tears are said to purify the body. Ananda ashrubhihi atanoti pulakam नैर्मल्यतश्छादनं वाचा शङ्खमुखे स्थितैश्च जठरा पूर्तिं चरित्रामृतैः. I do have one question which has been bothering me since a long while. So here the phrase says Bhakti Janani Bhaktarbhakam Rakshati. The mother of divine love will ensure that the devotee is protected. But then we read so many stories of all these bhakti saints who were, whipped, tortured, and had to meet very ugly ends. So how would you make sense of this?
That's a very sad point that happened. But ideally, like with the case of Ramadasa that immediately comes to mind, he longs for darshana of Sri Rama. He builds the temple. Because of building the temple, he is sent into Karagara. And then he has to live there for a long, long time. He lives there without the proper food or all kinds of punishments. But then they say that, in his previous Janma, he had caged the parrot for 7 years and put it in his home. Because he had caged the parrot and took away its freedom, he was just going through that karma. And once that karma was gone, he was out of the prison just as miraculously. In fact, the way he got out of prison is also extremely miraculous, in the sense that Rama and Lakshmana themselves directly take a form as brothers, and they go to, they appear in the sleep of the Nizam, and whatever Ramadasa owed was paid to him, and he is released. So, of course, it can be very easily explained away by saying that, it was their own karma that is why they were suffering, etc. But but I actually do not like that kind of thinking, in the sense that why should a bhakta ever be in such a state at all? Right? What do you have to say to this?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. Let's see what Shantarya has to say, or anybody else would like to.
If you want to achieve anything, you are going to toil and toil and toil. And depending on your cleverness, for some people it comes in easy, which could be interpreted as their good karma. And there are people who toil and toil and toil, and they almost reach the result, but somebody else comes and snatches it and declares that they have discovered that. And so would it be his bhakti, or would it be the other person's bhakti that reaching that goal? I keep the goal as the bhakti. And if you have got to gain something, you have to toil hard, whether you give up your life for that, like martyrs. I don't know if it's the right kind of comparison of what. But to attain anything, there has got to be a lot and lot of effort. For some people, it's very easy. For some people, it never comes. And some people give up their life halfway through.
Right.
I mean, these topics are such highly sensitive and really high level topics.
Correct. But coming back to this point of would the bhaktas truly be protected? Just one story strikes to my mind. There was a Sufi by name Al-Halaj who was I think in Baghdad. So where he actually did make a very Vedantic claim. He said, "I am God." He said, "I am the truth." And for which, of course, those desert cults were so dualistic and so pluralistic that they were monotheistic actually, that they did not have the tolerance to even digest such a claim, let alone, understand it. Yeah, exactly. For a very similar reason there. So let me just complete the story. So he there was then persecuted by the very people around him, for making such tall claims, which were supposedly seen as claims to challenge the authority of both the Imam as well as of the king there. So neither the religious nor the political leaders of those of his time took it very well, and so they imprisoned him for a few days. And then one of his disciples, I mean, not disciples, but a mischief maker, he just came to him and asked him, "Oh, you claim to be a knower of the truth. You claim to be Allah. You claim to be God yourself. And you claim to be a lover of God. Why don't you ask your God to free you from this prison? And why do you have to meet your death uh, for such a powerless God, who doesn't even have the strength to let you free? Look at how powerful these religious and political leaders are, that they have you imprisoned." So for which his reply was, he smiles and he just laughs and he says, "Oh, I could, with the batting of my eye, not just get out of this prison, but even get out of this world. But it is his will that I wish to respect. It is his desire that I want to respect, and I don't have any desires of my own. So if he wants me here in this prison, I've most wonderfully and lovingly want to, let his desire play and not have my own desires." So that was a very nice reply he gives.
Yeah. I would like to add something here in the sense that that's a very nice point that you brought up. And when do we need Raksha? We need Raksha when we have Bhaya. If somebody does not have Bhaya, they are being protected.
Correct. Yes.
And thus, Rakshate iti vaktum shakyate.
Satyam. Because the person who is fearing itself is no more. So, yeah, in that way, the Rakshana has happened. Yes. Yes, Shantari, I cut you short. You were about to say something about Jesus.
Was persecuted, wasn't he?
Correct, yes.
Or he had to give up life.
Something. Yeah.
So I don't know when you started talking about this, the other gentleman.
Yeah, Sufi, Al-Halaj. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are so many martyrs like that.
Correct.
I don't know.
So maybe from an external perspective, we may see that they are being persecuted, they are being tortured, and so on. But we never know what their internal state is. Maybe they want, like he said, they want to honor God's will of maybe their body being harmed or something. But yeah, they are ready to willfully and lovingly give up their entire lives for a larger cause.
No, once they have understood what's up, they don't care about the body. And whatever the damage is being inflicted upon the body, it does not affect them. They are the ones who have iti vishramya nishthavantaha iti vaktum shakyate. Taha bandhamuktaha te uttamajanaha. Parantu there are actually songs by Ramadasa when he is frustrated and he says, "What wrong I have done? What is the mistake I have done that I am going through all of this pain?" That at least tells us about the mental state he was in during those times, at least for a few days. Where he's extremely frustrated, disappointed, and he's like, I am the one who is defending you. What are you doing? Because he was in Islamic rule. Every day he would be poked and prodded. He would be said, what kind of God are you worshipping? He cannot protect you, etc., etc. He is like Ramadasa is telling them that you are the most Rama is the most powerful. nobody else is there even in comparison, etc. He is the one who is defending Rama in front of all these people. So he frustratedly asks in one of the Kirtanas, Ramadasa. So this is also a Kirtana again. Although he is saying, what are you doing? It is still a Kirtana. And he says, this is exactly what he says. I am the one who is defending you every single day. Who are you defending?
Yeah, that's right. Astu sadhu. Let's just look at the meaning. Love, the mother protects her baby, the devotee. She wells up tears of joy and bathes a cleaned toddler. She dresses him up with flowers from Shiva's puja. She sounds the conch for a song. She feeds him with the legends of Shiva. Oh my God, she even garlands him with rudrakshas and smears ashes. We would usually see mothers applying Johnson baby as powder and anointing it with uh, golden chains or maybe silver bracelets. But here, Bhakti makes the Bhakta even wear bhasma and rudrakshas. She anoints the kajal from her own divine body. She puts him into sleep in the cradle of your sweet memories. अस्तु साधु साधु चर्चा अद्य अकारि अत्र वयं स्थगयामः अन्यदा कक्ष्यायां मिलामः हा कण्कप् करेक्ट् काटक वा काटुक अस्तु अनेके धन्यवादाः वण्डर्फुल् डिस्कशन् धन्यवादाः फॉर ऑल योर इनपुट्स hopefully we'll all meet very soon in the next session धन्यवादाः sorry
Just